Gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to another week of Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening out there. As always, I certainly am. The weather's nice in Orlando today. It's been nice all day. Hot, but you know, that's the way we like it in Orlando. If it was any other way, it'd be a problem.
I like warm.
I like it when it's hot, Monica. Miss Monica, I like it when it's hot. But let me go ahead and welcome the people that are joining me tonight. Jeremy's in the building. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How y'all doing out there?
Doing well, sir. We're doing well. And Miss Monica's back. Miss Monica's been gone for a couple of weeks, but she is back in the house tonight. Miss Monica, how you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Miss Monica. And tonight's show is actually being brought to you by Star Butts Salon. And the owner of Star Butts Salon will be joining us later, Dorothy Harr. She's going to come and tell us all about her lovely salon. It is a tanning salon, and we'll get into that later. But it is called Star Butts Salon. It's located on the corner of Lee Road is called on that end, and 1792 in that Kmart Plaza. So Star Butts Salon, she'll be joining us later this evening. We look forward to that. And in a few minutes, we have criminal defense attorney Alicia Peyton is also going to be joining us this evening. She's going to offer us some legal opinions about the George Zimmerman case. So we look forward to having both of those ladies on the show tonight. We're going to have some fun, as always, here at Real Family Talk. Before we get to Miss Alicia Peyton, though, just a couple of quick news stories. I was telling Miss Monica before we went on air about one that I read involving a first grader. So there's a first grader who apparently is a boy, but already considers himself a girl. He's in first grade. He's a boy, considers himself a girl. So the parents, because clearly, you know, the rules, we'll call them the normal rules, suggest if you were a boy, you know, boys use the boys' bathroom, okay? But this little boy, who, again, considers himself a girl, their parents allow him to dress like a girl. So for all intents and purposes, at the age of 6, he looks like a little girl. And so because the school wanted to treat him like the little boy he actually is, the parents apparently sued the school system and actually won. And now the school system must allow this little boy who dresses like a girl to use the girls' bathroom at the school. So this little boy who literally dresses like a girl, I saw photos, is going to be using the girls' bathroom at the school because at the age of 6, he's already figured out he actually is supposed to be a girl.
Wow.
Go ahead, sir.
For those of y'all who's not familiar with the book of Revelation, this is it.
I know, right? This is crazy.
That is just crazy. First grade.
Barely can read.
First grade.
And write and spell girl, for that matter.
Now, how
but he has decided who he is.
My son just got first grade. How as a parent, you see your child's a first grader and go say, "Oh yeah, he a little girl."
that's the thing that got me, bro. Like, really, in first grade, a 6-year-old.
And then go so far as to sue.
He's telling the parents he's a girl. Like, you don't even know what we talking about here, son. You a girl, first grade, 6 years old, approximately. And yet you're telling me that you're a girl.
That's deep.
That is deep. Mm. That is deep. That's you know.
But okay, let's say you do. But what's up with the lawsuit though?
Yeah, I mean,
so
the
you gonna put it out there
schools
for the
already
world.
have a difficult time, and then you're gonna sue the school. And it's not like you sued him so that he could have his own special bathroom.
Right.
You sued him so that he can use the same facilities.
That's the girl.
That's the girl.
Because it's that serious. Now, this is my question. So what happens When all the other parents say, no, that's a little boy, and they sue, saying they don't want the parents of the little girl say, I don't want this boy in the girl's bathroom.
I agree. Or even take it a step further. So at the moment, this little boy is in first grade. What happens when he goes to middle school?
Yeah.
What happens when he goes to high school?
You're gonna sue all the
You know, you're gonna sue sue the school system at every level.
No, that's not what's gonna happen. He gonna have some problems. Cause I don't think them girls in middle school go want him in the bathroom.
I mean, consider, 6 years old, and there is a boy dressed as a girl walking into your bathroom. Already, at this point, that has created so much confusion for these little girls.
And we talking about, I've dealt with middle school. I taught middle school before. Middle school children are cruel.
That's what I'm trying to say. He gonna have some
They
problems.
are cruel. That little boy is gonna have some problems going into middle school. But then again, you know what? You know, in some cases, we almost live in a different world sometimes, because when you think about it, he is actually growing up in a elementary school where there are at least, several hundred kids that he's gonna know that will go to the middle school with him. And I guess, for the most part, be relatively neutralized to the idea that, hey, he always looks like a girl.
That's Johnny. That's Johnny.
There you go.
Johnny always looks like a little girl.
Johnny.
So that,
Hey, when the new kids come in, they were like, man, what's up with Buddy? Oh, man, that's Johnny. He been like that since elementary school.
Oh,
But, the new ones they still ain't going to be let it go because they ain't go to elementary school with him. So they ain't going to let it go.
He's going to have some problems for sure. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. But yeah, man, that just blew my mind. The parents suing so a 6-year-old could be allowed, who dresses like a girl, be allowed to use the girl's bathroom because he already at 6 years old knows he's supposed to be a woman. Gotta be kidding.
Yeah. I mean, they don't even have a specific facility for, some children that have difficulties with certain things, much less create this whole, different dynamic just for one child out of a school of, I'm not quite sure how many, but several hundred, just so he could be able to do whatever he'd like to do. That's just absurd.
Crazy.
It is.
Crazy. All right. We will we'll move on from this. But
You blew my mind with that one.
Hey,
because I hadn't heard that one. So
I blew my mind when I read it. we won't even talk about the race involved in this because one can already assume. But we'll leave it alone on that. Let's see. Let's real quick. Of course, the Miami Heat did win in 7 games. I called it 7 games before it started. Germany does just submit LeBron James. Is it now okay to say he is definitely one of the greatest ever, German?
It's been okay to say it. People just so concentrating on, he didn't win a ring. Oh, he only got 1 ring. Man, it's some of the greatest players ever that ain't got no ring. Barkley ain't got no ring. Ewing ain't got no ring. I mean, the list goes on. Karl Malone ain't got no ring. John Stockton ain't got no ring. It's I don't know. I honestly don't understand the hatred. Really, is what you want to say with LeBron James. I mean, to be in the national spotlight since you were 15, 16 years old, and you still maintaining dignity in class. To me, that's worth mentioning in itself.
Right. I mean, for the most part, aside from his decision to shack up for the last 7 years.
Yeah, you shouldn't be shacking. Don't shack.
Besides from his decision to shack up and have a bunch of babies for the last 7 years, for the most part, the brother has kept his head clean and his nose clean. So yeah, definitely, man. Hopefully, as Magic Johnson said in his post-game interviews, they will let it ride and forever allow him to be the great player that he is without doing a bunch of criticism.
I mean, yeah. I mean, think about it. You say back to back. Ain't too many people done it back to back. So to me, that in itself deserves mentioning.
Right.
And one of the greatest.
So we'll see what happens next year, man. We'll see if the three-peat will happen. I look forward to next year. It's gonna be basketball season gonna be interesting next year with all these changes they got going on.
Yeah, that it is.
So we'll move on. Miss Alicia Peyton is on the line. How you doing, Alicia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Alicia. Again, we just want to thank you for joining us tonight. Again, this is Miss Alicia Peyton. She is a criminal defense lawyer, and she's just going to offer a few legal opinions on what's been happening in the George Zimmerman trial. Real quick, let's start, Alicia, with just some of your general thoughts that you had about what's been going on so far.
Well, like most people, I, of course, witnessed for the first time about a year and a half ago when it came to the TV and told everybody what happened. And like most people, I think everybody had their preconceived notion right off the bat about the fact that a young boy was killed for walking down the street. But as we get closer and we jump into this trial, we find that there's not only the emotional outcry, but there's also some legal implications. So as we look at the case, I think there's more to it than what people just assume by looking at the television and having general conversation. So I think it's an interesting case, and I don't think it's as clear-cut as we all would like it to be.
Okay, all right. So a couple of things I was curious about. One thing I've noticed, and the lawyers kind of alluded to this as well in some of their opening arguments, but so George Zimmerman's parents are basically not allowed in the room at this point, but of course Trayvon Martin's parents are there. And so could you just kind of clean up for me what's the difference? Because I assume both parents are going to be testifying at some point, but why are Zimmerman's parents out and Trayvon Martin's parents are in?
Well, in criminal law, there's something called the rule of sequestration. And the rule of sequestration just simply means that the witnesses that are going to testify in the trial cannot sit in the courtroom and listen to other witnesses testify. And the reason for that is because you don't want witnesses' testimony to change or be tainted by listening to what someone else had to say about the case. Now, the rule of sequestration is not something that's automatic, but the attorneys for the prosecution or the defense must ask the judge to invoke that rule. So we heard the prosecution or defense invoke that rule, meaning the witnesses had to leave, and that includes George Zimmerman's parents. Now, as it relates to Trayvon Martin's parents, there's a separate wrinkle in the law that allows for the family of the victims to be present throughout the entire trial. So for this situation, the parents are allowed to remain in the room, even though they may or may not be called as witnesses in the trial.
Gotcha. Okay. Because they are the parents of the victim, not the defendant. Okay. All right. I guess that makes sense. Something else I had, I was blown away when I found out we had a jury of all females. I was blown away that they kind of went that route. It really surprised me. What do you think? Is there some kind of benefit, you think, or is there any kind of drawbacks that one might be concerned about?
It is interesting that we have a jury that doesn't look like what we all thought the jury would look like when this jury selection process finished. I can only speculate at this point, but it would seem to me like one of the benefits to having an all-female jury from the prosecution side is that innate ability for women to feel something for the family of the victim. The victim in this case, Trayvon Martin, was a young boy. He was a child. And I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that at least one of these women has to have some children. And at that point, a mother's love sometimes tends to enter in to decision-making. Although it shouldn't, I would assume that one of the benefits would be that the women on this jury would tend to take some sort of sympathy for the situation for the Martin family. I think that when you're looking at drawbacks, it kind of depends on from what side you're looking from. And when you say that, it really means that the benefits could tend to be the drawbacks as well. I mean, you've got an all-female jury here, but what you don't have is any men that can actually identify with the defendant. So a drawback for the defense side is that you don't have any men who innately have that ability to protect in the jury to understand the possible viewpoint of Mr. Zimmerman that night. So there's some drawbacks, there's some good points, there's some benefits, but it's important to remember the purpose of jury selection. These attorneys all had 2 weeks with every person that they brought in. They asked tons of questions, and I didn't see every minute of the jury selection, but something was said by each of these 6 women that both sides liked. And the purpose of jury selection isn't necessarily to find a jury that looks like the victim or the defendant, but instead the purpose is to find a group of people that can be fair and impartial and listen to all of the evidence objectively and return with a verdict.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's just a curious question of just about some of your experience. Have you had an experience working with a jury that just so happened to be all women?
Actually, I haven't. I've never seen a jury of all women before. So this is, I think, new for a lot of attorneys because I have never seen a jury pool that's come back with only women that have been selected.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just find that interesting. I agree with you, you know. I wonder about the emotional aspect of it because from I think most of them have at least one child, if I remember reading correctly. Mm-hmm. So just that idea that you have a bunch of women who also have children that, you know, could potentially have been in Trayvon Martin's situation, and then that be your only judge and jury, you know? It just from a defense perspective, it kind of makes me go, I don't know about that one. I think I'd rather have at least one man on the jury.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. As a defense attorney, I think that I would have wanted at least one gentleman on the jury to try to provide a different perspective as opposed to having 6 women in a room who may all be thinking the same way. But you never know what kind of pool they had for the jury selection, so there may not have been any men that were viable candidates at that time.
Right. Or each one of them took, what do you call it that you have when you can just automatically cancel a juror?
Oh, a peremptory strike?
Yes, there you go. Maybe they used all their strikes on all the men on each side. Maybe that's what happened. But
maybe.
Very interesting, very interesting. Now, have you, I saw, I heard today, I didn't see, but I heard today and I was reading one of the witnesses that came up. Well, actually, no, let me go back up for a second. One of the other questions that we've had on the show was relating to the charges. Of course, the main charge being second-degree murder. Are there any smaller charges that the jury may be able to shoot for if they don't agree with the second-degree murder?
Well, technically there are. We can with manslaughter, which is, of course, an accidental killing. It's a lesser offense of second-degree murder. However, in order for the charge to be added to the jury's instructions for the jury to consider, that has to be agreed upon by the state and the defense at this particular point. And we don't know if the state and defense are going to even ask for that lesser included offense. If I had to assume, I would guess that the defense would not be asking for the manslaughter to be added as a lesser included offense. Because the strategic move there would be either the state gets it all or they don't get any of it. So if I were the defense attorney on the case, I probably wouldn't want manslaughter to be added as a lesser included offense. Now, there are certain instances where we have what's called mandatory lesser included offenses, and manslaughter may be a mandatory lesser included offense of second-degree murder, but that's something that the state would bring up at that time.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Sounds good. I've certainly learned a couple things tonight. I appreciate that. Jeremy, Miss Monica, you got any questions for us?
I do. I just want to get, I guess, a criminal defense lawyer's perspective of the opening statements. I know that the layperson's perspective, a lot of people had some interesting comments regarding the defense's opening statements and his knock-knock joke and or attempt to have a knock-knock joke, and the emotion-packed opening statement of the prosecution. So just wanted to kind of get your take on maybe what their maybe thought process could possibly be. I know you won't know exactly, and maybe what benefit it could be, how they started.
I think that what we saw from the prosecuting attorney is typical for a case of this caliber. To lead with emotion, to lead with defendant's own words, and to lay out an account of what the jury and the audience will hear throughout the trial is quite common in this sort of case. It provides a roadmap for the jury to work with to know where we're going, what we're doing, and what we intend to show you, and then tell you at the end of all of this evidence, we intend for you to find a verdict of guilty. What the state attorney did in this case, I think, was typical, but it was good because those words were daggers to the heart. They got you sitting right up on your seat, and it made you really listen to what it is that they were going to say. I think another benefit to the state attorney in this particular case is that he was much shorter than the defense. When we're looking at what the defense attorney did, I personally don't agree with the knock-knock joke. I don't think that this is an area where we want to lighten the mood. I don't know what he was thinking when he thought the knock-knock joke was going to be beneficial, but I can only give my opinion as a defense attorney. I don't think I would want to lighten the mood of a situation that has such dire and serious consequences for my client. So I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. I also don't agree with the length of the defense attorney's opening. If I had to guess, I'd assume that based on the theory of defense in this case as we know it, maybe that's why he took a lengthier time to discuss his opening statement. But at this particular point, the burden of the proof rests with the state attorney. I don't really see the benefit to having a 2.5-hour opening statement for the defense.
Gotcha. You going to say something else, Ms. Martin? Oh, okay.
Well, I had a question. I mean, I know it's just starting the trial, but how do you think Mark O'Meara is doing as far as defending him?
I actually think he's doing a pretty good job. Between Mr. O'Meara and Don West, I think they're doing a pretty good job of cross-examining the witnesses and getting out exactly what they need to get out. Part of our job as defense attorneys is not to do what's popular, but to do what's best for our client. And I think they're doing a good job of trying to poke holes in the state's case and also set up what we believe their defense will be in the future.
Cool. That's good. What about prosecution? Are they doing a good job on their side as well, or I've heard some criticism of some of the prosecutors.
You know, I'll say this. Of course, as a defense attorney, I'm not a big fan of the prosecution, but I will say that the prosecution has to work with what they're given. So in terms of whether or not they're doing a good job, sometimes I think the layperson gets a little bit confused with the difference between what they're given and what they're doing with what they're given. I don't think the prosecution is necessarily doing a bad job. I think that what's happening here is we've got to see the case for what it is. Usually, in a criminal defense case, the burden remains with the state throughout the trial. In this case, it's a bit different because we know where the defense is going. We know that there's no disputing in this particular matter that a murder happened. There's no disputing it. There's no disputing that George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. At this point, all that there is whether or not he was justified in the killing. So the state's burden really has already been met. We already know that a murder happened. The defense is going to have to come back and say, it happened because I was defending myself. And that is where I think the focus should be. So I think the state's doing their job, but we already know that it's going to be very easy to prove that a murder occurred.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. I appreciate that, Ms. Alicia Peyton. You have any final comments you want to add before you go here?
I'm just excited to see what the coming days show in this trial, and I'm ready to see if Zimmerman actually takes a stand.
I would think he has to, right? Don't he have to?
I think he does if they're going to survive a viable self-defense claim, but you never know in these days and times.
All right, man. We appreciate you, Ms. Alicia Peyton. She'll be joining us next week as well to kind of give us a weekly update on where we are with the trial. So we thank you again, Ms. Peyton, for coming on the show.
Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you.
All right, you have a good evening now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Babe, thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So there's a legal opinion about what's happening with the George Zimmerman trial. Of course, that is it's the hottest thing in Central Florida anyway. Biggest news topic. At least 2 to 3 hours on every news station in the city is dedicated, if not more, to what's happening with the trial. So first 2 days of the actual trial, about 3 or 4 witnesses have come up already. So we'll kind of keep our eye on this thing, see where this goes. We've had a ton of discussion, so we won't do that tonight, but we'll definitely keep our eye on what's happening with the George Zimmerman trial. So moving on here tonight, joining us tonight, as I've already said, Miss Dorothy Harr is joining us tonight, the owner of Star Butts Salon, again located on the corner of 1792 and Lee Road in that little Kmart Plaza. How you doing tonight, Miss Harr?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing all right, Miss Harr. We are doing all right. So Miss Harr, again, is here to tell us all about her salon tonight. Again, one of the main things that she does at her salon is tanning. Excuse me. So Miss Harr, go ahead. Tell us about your salon.
Well, my salon is in the Winter Park area, and it's a tanning salon. And I'm, of course, a black woman that owns a tanning salon in Winter Park. And I get people to say, why do you own a tanning salon? Well, I thought it was a good investment for my family. Learning about the salon, I realized that not only white people can tan, but black people can tan as well. And no one ever told me this until I had to go through a special training. I'm noticing that sisters and brothers are coming in with psoriasis and eczema, and it's actually clearing their skin up, something no one ever told me. I'm noticing that through my training that there's bacteria on the skin that people can get rid of through UV tanning. No one ever told me that. To tone the skin color, it blends your skin in, and no one ever told me that. So it's actually a benefit to some people. They also have the Mystic Spray Tan as well that has vitamins inside of it. And what happens with the vitamins, it clears the skin up, and it's a healthier version of the UV tan. Now, you hear all the controversy about cancer and be careful of the tanning. Well, yeah, you should be careful. You should be careful when you're out in the sun as well. As long as you watch your time, and which we do that at the salon, then you should be good to go. If you have cancer in the family, you might want to check with your doctor or your dermatologist to make sure that you can tan. We have women that come in with discoloration in their skin, or they have the spider veins on the side or the stretch marks, and you want to hide that and say you're going somewhere nice, but you can't wear this dress because you're showing certain marks on your body that you don't want to show. If you don't want to do the UV tan, do the spray tan. I do it. It gives me a nice glow to my skin. It doesn't really darken my skin as much as people would think, but it gives me a healthier look on my skin. Is it UV versus Mystic? Mystic is considered a better choice for its health. UV, it's not a bad choice, but you just have to be careful of your time. And if you want to blend your skin color, try both. We're very careful there. We offer a variety of things at the salon. We have nail techs that are on staff. We have Danny and Amy. They used to be in the Kmart, not the Kmart, but the Save-A-Lot Shopping Center. We brought them over to our shopping center, which is in Kmart, and they're awesome. People can't seem to find them, and when they do, they're excited because they 20-year vets on doing nail techs. We have a massage therapist, Ingrid, that's there on site. She'll start next month. We have an esthetician that's on site. It's like a one-stop shop. We also recommend people to other people. We do social networking. We have Dr. Arabic that will recommend people for plastic surgery. So we not only work on your outside, but we work on your inside as well. We're looking for a nutrition expert. So if anyone out there is a nutrition expert, please come on board, because we're trying to work with people on watching your diet and watching how you eat your foods. We're a full-service salon. We would love to have you. Our prices aren't too high. If you ever want to stop in, just give us a call at 407-628-8266.
All right.
I'm going to switch you over to...
all right, hold on, Miss Harr. She's got the whole spiel going over there.
Yeah.
I'm just getting it out there.
30 seconds. You can't do the whole interview in 30 seconds now. Come on,
I'm done.
to talk about.
Well, he won't come in there, so I'm just throwing it up there. What do you want to talk about?
So again, Miss Harr talks about her salon. Again, Star Butts Salon is the name of the shop. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. So you kind of hit on this already, because I know just from our personal experience and telling people that you were coming on the show, and they were looking at me kind of crazy.
I'm sure they are.
They're looking at me kind of crazy, like, why do you have somebody coming on the show talking about black people tanning? I kind of got that conversation quite a few times. But as you said, there are other benefits that exist that are not just exclusive to getting your skin slightly darker than what it already is. And I think, for people who have those issues, which, those issues are challenging in the sense that they're with you, when you have psoriasis, it just doesn't go away after a couple of days.
Yeah,
it's there. So the thought that maybe there's something out there that perhaps you didn't know about to help you is pretty interesting. Go ahead.
Well, just think about it. If you have psoriasis and you go to a dermatologist, 9 times out of 10, the medication they're going to recommend for you is going to be pretty close to $100. A lot of people can't afford that, but they can afford to come in and pay $13 for a tan. Okay, and the tan, if you do 2 to 3 sessions a week, and actually helps clear your skin up, and it doesn't take it away, but it gives you a better look on your skin. You feel better about yourself. If you have muscles that ache and you can't find medication to help you, or you don't want to take pain pills, well, the heat actually helps soothe your muscles. So there's some benefits there, and a lot of people need to come and give it a try. It's not about darkening your skin as much as making yourself feel better about yourself and feel good within your muscles. Your skin color is even toned. You don't have the patchiness. I mean, you have black people that are light skinned, medium, dark, and they're that way on their whole body. I have women that say, well, I'm light here and I'm dark here, and it's embarrassing when I take my clothes off. And I'll tell them, well, why don't you try tanning, or even try the spray tan? They'll walk in and walk out, and now they're back. And it's just like knowledge is power. If you don't know what it can do for you, then of course you're going to say, oh, I don't want to get darker, I want to get black. What's wrong with being black? Let me explain that to me.
What's wrong with me?
What's wrong? Everybody else coming there trying to get my color. I don't get it.
You have a point. We just want people to see us in the dark.
And it gives you, it really does give you a nice, healthy glow to your skin, like you just walked off the beach. Everybody look at me and say, you got that Pocahontas look going on. I'm saying, Now you come, let me show you how I get this Pocahontas look. It works. It really does.
407-894-1680 is the number if you have any questions you want to ask Ms. Harr this evening.
I have a question about the eczema. Okay. What exactly does it do? Does it dry out the bacteria?
Exactly. Exactly. And this is something I just learned not too long ago. I had a client, actually today, as a matter of fact, a gentleman, he was showing, and he didn't have eczema, but he had a rash on his arm, and he just started a week ago, and he wanted to show me how the rash was clearing up on the skin, where it dries out the bacteria that's in your skin. So that's a benefit for as the eczema is concerned. Now, does it take the eczema away? No, or they wouldn't keep coming back. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it does give you a better appearance on your skin, and you can't really tell that you even have eczema anymore. So that's not a bad thing. If you can't afford the medication, you might want to try an alternative, and that's tanning.
Okay. How exactly, because I've never tanned.
Okay.
So how would that work?
Okay.
I show up.
What I tell you to
wear
do.
A bathing suit.
Okay, a lot of people. Oh, I see you somewhere. Wear a bathing suit. My people are naked. Let me.
Okay. Well then.
Okay, we actually have tanning booths. We don't have little curio areas where you can peek over or anything like that. We have built-in cabinets that you go into, and you lock your door, and you take your clothes off, and you lay down on this bed. It's a thick piece of glass that you lay on top of. You pull it over you, and it doesn't lock like on one of those crazy movies that you watch, because you can pull it up or down. We time your limit. You tell me how long it takes you to get your clothes off, put your solution on, and you lay down. You can wear a suntan lotion. You don't have to wear it if you don't want to, and you just lay down for the 12 minutes in the turbo that you need to, or the 20 minutes in the 20-minute bed. The difference between the turbo and the 20-minute bed, the turbo is a bronzing. If you have fair skin, say you're white and you're very fair skin, you're from Ireland or something like that, a lot of people can't tan. And if you're too fair, I would suggest the Mystic. However, if you can tan, but you need to build your pigment, which they try to build up to our pigment a little bit, you go in the 20-minute, you build it up, and then you can graduate over to the turbo.
Interesting. Okay. Do you put anything on after you've tanned? Like, for people with sensitive skin,
I would suggest that you keep a bottle of aloe with you, and what it does is hold your tannin, and it helps moisturize your skin. Is what it does. And a lot of people seem to have their own tanning solutions, and they leave them at the salon, and I mark it for them, and they put the solution on before they get in, and then sometimes they rub the aloe on. You exfoliate before you come in, because you want to get rid of all the dead skin, because you don't want to cook in the dead skin on top of the good skin, because you're going to have that crackle look, and you don't want the crackle look. But actually, it works for a lot of people. It's not hard. The spray tan is really fun. I don't have a girl there with a wand. Some places have it where a person actually sprays you. Well, we don't do that. We have a Mystic booth, a HD booth, and what you do is you walk in, and it's an automated voice that talks you through it. Left foot here, right foot there, and it sprays you evenly and then lightly on your skin. And in 5 to 6 hours, you'll actually see the glow come to your skin. And it's really cool. I like it. It's fun. Okay. And if you want to wear something, some women do wear a bikini in there because their men like to see the tan lines. What's that all about? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little different.
I told you, Miss Harr is always fun. Always fun. She tells it like it is, Jeremy. She tells it like it is.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
But a lot of people do it to boost their self-confidence because they're not happy with the discoloration in their skin, or their skin's too fair, or their skin is blotchy, and they just want an even tone. And if you look at, down to plastic surgery, women go and they get a breast enlargement, they get a tummy tuck. Why do they do that? Because they're not happy with the way they look. If you're not happy with your skin color, not saying that I'm too dark or I'm too light, but the fact that it's blotchy and it's not even. That's what tanning is all about. That's what it does for you. But not only that, but the vitamin D, just think about it. If you drink 100 glasses of milk for vitamin D, that equals 1 tanning session. And when you get my age, and they start handing you those horse pills for vitamin D, you're going to be glad you came in and tan because you don't need it. It jumps your vitamin D right off the charts.
Definitely. And speaking of rickets, which is very prevalent in the black community, rickets, and so that vitamin D is definitely very helpful. Because what happens for black people, for those that kind of don't know the science, I'll quickly give you a quick science lesson here. I don't want to change the subject to biology on you or anything like that. But basically, because of the melanin in our skin, the melanin actually blocks the UV rays from being absorbed into your skin, and as a result, you don't absorb as much UV rays as, let's say a white person. As a result, you may tend to lose the ability to make vitamin D through the sun, which is one of the natural things that our body is able to do. So definitely with rickets being an example out there, this could certainly be helpful to you if that is your scenario. Definitely. Any other good things you want to mention about tanning, or anything else you want to tell us specifically about
there
the salon?
are other things about the salon that I might want to mention.
Sure. What else is
in
there?
the future, we are looking to do a female boot camp, something to empower women to feel better about themselves and their weight. We have brought a weight loss solution. Okay, are you guys okay? A Slenderiiz to the salon, and my massage therapist Ingrid is going to talk about it, about the product. Ingrid, you want to talk about it?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you, Dodie. I've been a massage therapist for 18 years, that is true, and I'm really passionate about helping people balance their lives. And one of the things that occurs after 18 years of being a massage therapist is that your own body starts to break down. As much as you love to keep giving health and helping people make them feel good, your own body starts to deplete. So you need to learn things and find other means, other ways, alternative ways to really, really help yourself as a practitioner keep yourself in balance. And one of the things that I have found is that you really need to balance the time of day, what you're doing physically, and how I wanted to keep teaching people the importance of balancing health. One of the things that came into my life recently is a weight loss product. And it's so wonderful that when we've met, we were in line, Dodie, with the same ideas of, bringing homeopathic products into your salon, helping community better their health, educating them, finding alternatives. One of the alternatives that you and I really aligned with was this weight loss product, and it's called Slenderiiz and Accelerate. And what I really, really loved about it from my own experience, it was something very new to me. I have not been overweight for only 10 years, so not most of my life I wasn't. And I didn't understand what that was like until it happened to me. And when I went through this experience of being overweight for 10 years, I didn't understand the dynamics of what it could interplay with your psyche. I did understand that it was putting a burden on my spine because physically I knew what that was doing, but I really didn't understand the rest. Then I find this product, and there were other people that I kept hearing their stories, and they're losing the weight, and it was wonderful to hear it, and it inspired me. Last year, before my 49th birthday, 2 weeks, I said, you know what, I'm ready, and I'm going to try it. And I lost 7 pounds my first 2 weeks, but it was 70 pounds of mental, emotional baggage that was just tremendous. I didn't even know or understand what it was like to go through that until it happened to me. If people can talk about it, I've heard many stories. So I started to really think about, wow, other people that are overweight, either as a child or as they grow up, or maybe they had, 1 or 2 babies and they're still fighting off their baby fat and it's already 10, 15 years, they're really struggling. So one of the things that really, really helped me understand was the experience that I went through. So I lose 14 pounds in 2 months with this product. So what is this product? It's called Slenderiiz and Accelerate, and it's a safe homeopathic program that is clinically proven to release fat at a 1/2 pound per day. And with that was tremendous. It's very simple and easy to take. There's just drops, 10 to 15 drops under the tongue, so it's sublingual, and it goes into your bloodstream just from there, so it doesn't have to go through the rest of the body and disrupt your digestive system or anything like that. That's one of the reasons why it's safe. And so there's 2 bottles, by the way. One of them is called Slenderiiz, and so you're taking those 10 to 15 drops under the tongue for 10 seconds. Then you wait 10 minutes and take the second bottle, and that one is called Accelerate. That one you also take 10 to 15 drops under the tongue, wait about 10 minutes, and then you eat. You do this 3 times a day before your 3 biggest meals. And if you do forget because it's not routine for you, it's okay if you just miss that middle lunch time and you just wait, a little while and just take it, after that. And one of the things that it does help is it helps curb your appetite, it helps flush the fat, and it helps minimize the cravings. So for somebody like me that has been addicted, literally addicted to sugar and chocolate, 24/7, no problem, please. This completely changed that. So I'm very, very passionate about this because of the change that it's occurred for me. I know that it has caused some change with you, Dodie, and you also said even with your husband.
His blood pressure's down and cholesterol levels down.
Yeah, and some clients. Now, that even happens normally just by losing weight, but there is something different here because we have the first product, for example, the Slenderiiz, helps with something called the HPA, the hypothalamus pituitary axis. And that right there really, really helps, with curbing the cravings.
Okay, I got a question.
Sure.
Of course, the I'm sure there's people out there listening who have gone through years of different diets and processes to try and lose some weight here and there. What is so unique about this particular product that would want to entice somebody to once again try something new after they've been trying for years and years and years?
Well, one of the things that I know that the Accelerate and the Slenderiiz does, it helps support brain health, and it also helps aid in digestion. So there's other products out there that are helping along with curbing appetite, but they're using chemicals to trick the body, and this is not anything like that. So it's all homeopathic, it's plant-based, and that's where it differs.
Okay, all right. Did you have something you want to say there, Miss Molly?
I guess I'm just still trying to understand, I guess, the impact that both of them make. Like, what one of them, I guess, Slenderiiz is what curbs the appetite. And what does accelerate do? Does that boost your metabolism, or?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just guessing from the name. But
Yes, it does. It actually helps boost your metabolism naturally, and it also helps lower stress levels. So there's no stimulants in either of the products, no toxins. It is completely hormone-free, and it's clinically proven and also doctor approved to help, release the fat.
Okay, all right. It sounds interesting. So obviously we can find the product down at Star Butts Salon as well.
Yes, you can actually find it there. And the information that I've been talking about, there's also frequently asked questions. There's a wonderful
Tutorial.
website that you can also check out, and it's called SlenderXSupport.com, and that's Slender, SLENDERIIX support.com. And you can really, really learn a lot about the product. You'll have a lot of questions there being answered. And if you have one of your own, you can actually write it down and they will answer it for you. So they'll send it to the appropriate authorities to, help, answer the questions properly. And besides getting the product over at the salon, the tanning salon at Doty's, you can also get that online at Slenderiiz with us, and that's SLENDERIIZ with us.com.
Okay. As far as the research, I know you had mentioned that it's been doctor approved and things. How much research has been done, do you know, or where has the research come from?
Yes, well, actually, there were about over 10,000 people that actually tried it before it actually became open to our market. And from there was two groups, actually. There was an inside group of the company, the representatives, and actually that's one of the pictures that you see there is Lynn Allen Johnson. She lost 40 pounds in 4 months, which is amazing because she's been obese or overweight since she can remember, since a child. And everything, she, food and try, whether it's or whichever, and she even tried shots in her belly, she said, and nothing worked like this. Now, not only is something working, you can try a lot of programs out there and they work, but do they stay working? Did they really change your lifestyle? This, she says, has been the only thing that has completely changed her. She's a completely different person. I've known her for over 10 years. And, she's inspired me tremendously, which is really why I've also changed. I've changed all of my eating habits. Anyone who knows me knows that I live and love to eat. But now I still live and love to eat, but I'm making much smarter choices. Every day, morning, noon, and night, I have fun with it. I have fun with food, eating well. And I never imagined that could happen. There's also, for instance, a lot of programs, people think that you have to be working out in order to lose weight. And of course, I'm an advocate for working out. But there is someone that we also know that has lost 101 pounds. She's a paraplegic in a wheelchair. And she lost 101 in 7.5 months. Oh, wow. You can see this on the site. These pictures, these before and afters, these are not just anybody, kind of taken off the website. We know all these people personally. And that is what's tremendous and also inspiring. Now, it's really wonderful and great that I would love the adult community to hear this and, let's get to the adults and let's help people lose weight. But very, very near future, I'm looking for advocates that really want to help too with children's obesity. And that's where my dream and my goals are going. And I know that Doty is in line with that. And that's kind of what, we started to gel with. And but this is what's inspired us. And, this is why we really, really want to speak about it. And it's really about educating. It's not just about selling the product, it's about educating. What is really happening out there, why something can be different. Do your homework, do your research.
Awesome. That sounds
right, teacher?
Good. You got to be educated. That is certainly true. And we're gonna we'll post this information on the Real Family Talk Facebook page as well. So if you, right after the show, or at least a few minutes after the show, if you go check the Real Family Talk Facebook page, all of the websites that Ingrid has been discussing this evening will be posted up there, as well as the website for Star Butts Salon. You'll be able to find that there as well. So obviously, these is one of the products that's being offered at the salon. What other products do you have there that you want to promote tonight?
We have new skin products with John Dunn. He has a wellness gym off of Lee Road, and he'll be here another day with me to talk about the new skin products. And what it does is they have these little electrodes that he gives you free facials, and it helps move the marinetta line that's in your face. You know how you get older and your muscles drop in your cheeks? Well, it moves your cheeks back up. And the way I know that for a fact is he only did one side of my face, and I was like lopsided for a whole freaking day. And I'm like, John, you got to come back and fix the other side of my face. This is a product that my customers knew more about it than I did, and it actually works. It's a good product, so you'll hear a lot about that when you come to the salon. We have a young lady that is on the face of our card, and we're thinking about in the future doing a boot camp for women. And then Zumba's going to be involved, belly dancing is going to be done, pole dancing. All the women in Lake Mary are crazy about it. It sounds a little out there and far-fetched, but what it does is tone the body. And you want to keep that body in shape because you want to keep that man at home, and that's why we're offering it to you.
I'm surprised you don't have a comment on that.
Silent.
Golden.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Go ahead and so the title, of course, we've been saying it all evening, Star Butts Salon. Give me the exact address there.
It's 501 North Orlando Avenue. It's in the Kmart Shopping Center where LA Fitness is. It's right off of 1792 in Lee Road. It's right next door to Sally's. You can't miss us. Come on in. We'll treat you like family.
All the time. As you can see, Dorothy is also personable. Easy to talk to. That is for sure.
We do. We develop a relationship with each and every one of our clients. They're very comfortable there. We have a lot of women. It's amazing how if you just sit down and talk with people and you realize that it's not about just beauty on the outside, but a lot of people need beauty on the inside, and I'm seeing a lot of people don't. They don't have any of that. So if we can provide a one-stop shop where we can help some wellness happen with you mentally, physically, emotionally, we do that there. It's a good place to come. You'll enjoy it.
Definitely. And give them the phone number as well.
The phone number is 407-628-8266. 407-628-8266. Stop in and say hey to Dodie. And anybody listening on the air, if you want to try a tan, we'll make sure you get a 50% discount.
There you go, 50% off your first tan. You can't beat that. So that puts it like about $5 or $6, $7, $8.
It's real cheap.
All those with eczema, just try it out.
So that's about $7 or $8 for $7 or $8 for a tan. You can't beat that. You can barely go to McDonald's and buy a value meal for that price. So just go down to Star Butts Salon again on the corner of 1792 and Lee Road in that Kmart Plaza right next to LA Fitness. Mention that you heard her on Real Family Talk. That's way she know who you are, and certainly, as she said, you get a 50%
discount, which I never give
on your first hand.
That's the first time I ever heard of it.
No, that is awesome. We're kind of going to be wrapping up here in a moment. You got any last comments you want to Miss Harr.
The only thing I want to say is it'll be a pleasure to see you guys down there. Don't be shy. If you have any problems with your skin, psoriasis, anything of that nature, give us a call. Talk to your doctor. Make sure you feel comfortable with it. I will work with you. We don't over-tan anybody. We do the minimum state limits. And if you want to be over-tan, it's not going to happen in my salon. If you are a child and underage, please make sure you have a doctor's note to come in there, because I am very cautious when I take care of children. You know, I have to make sure something, not just from the parent, but I like to see something from your doctor stating that there's a reason why you need to tan.
Okay. Awesome. And I'll give you a final comment as well, Ingrid.
Sure. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to also mention that one of the things with the clinical trial is that the average weight loss with this product, the Slenderiiz and the Accelerate, is that you can lose between 13 to 16 pounds in a 4-week period. And this really, really helps you with the no more rebound weight gain. And that's what is also different. You know, go back to your question that you mentioned before too. And the product normally retails for $150, but right now we do also have a special at Doty's.
For $120.
Yes, for $120. And also, you know, we're looking for people to, you know, come to the salon, or you can also get it at the website that we mentioned before.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We thank both of you ladies coming on this evening. Again, you can find her, both of these ladies, at Star Butts Salon, the corner of 1792 and Lee Road, Kmart Plaza there, right next to LA Fitness. And what time now? You didn't mention the times that they can find you now.
Oh, we're there from 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 during the week. On Saturdays, we're there from 10 to 7. Sundays, we're closed. However, I'm usually there on Sundays anyway doing cleanup. So there's a number there. If you call me, I'm 5 minutes away. If you really have to be in that tanning booth, I'll make sure you're in there.
No dollar will be turned down.
No dollar will be turned down. That's for sure.
You got to appreciate that. You got to appreciate that. All right, man. We're gonna be wrapping up here in a moment. See, we may have somebody on the line here. We'll talk to them. We'll see what Jeremy has to say. But remember, Real Family Talk. You can find us on Facebook. We're always on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. You find us by just looking up Real Family Talk. That's the only way to find us. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Make sure you go to the website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com. I'm going to go ahead and, Miss Harr gave me an opportunity to do some tanning. And I'm going to post a blog over the next couple of days about my experience tanning so that the people could see. I did the 20-minute bed.
He did a double dip.
And I also
even did a spray tan. Chocolate,
He did the UV tan, and he went over to the Mystic and spray tan. He did a double dip. Full service.
You didn't tell me you did no tanning, bro.
It's all
holding back.
So I'm going to post a blog about that over the next couple of days. Tell you what my experience was. Yes, a black man has tan.
I see the glow.
I see it glowing. The halo.
Oh boy. So we will we'll see you. We'll see you next week. We thank you as always for listening. This is your host Jay Real signing off. This is Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Facebook, Real Family Talk. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Family Talk. The website, realfamilytalk.weebly.com.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.